What's up everybody, and welcome to a new video. I'm your host Diogenes. So in today's video I will go through zones because you guys asked me a lot to cover this subject. So here we go. Number 1, definition of a zone. A zone is an order flow zone, also called OB, and it's nothing but last buy-in before a big bearish drop when we are bearish, and the last sell-in before a bullish move when we are bullish. So for example, this was bearish move before a large bullish swing, right? So this was our zone. When we are bearish, this was our last bullish move before our bearish swing. So this was our zone. So a zone is nothing but this. Number 2, validity of a zone. A zone is valid when it's made out of a valid low, then a valid high when we are bearish. What is a valid low? A valid low is when we close above the last down closing candle in a swing. So in this example, this is the last down closing candle in this swing, not this, because it didn't close under this. So closing above it makes this a valid low. A valid high is nothing but a close under the last up closing candle in a swing. So this was the last up closing candle in a swing. So closing under this won't make it a valid low, but we need the closure under this candle to make it a valid low. For bearish zone, we need first a valid low, then a valid high, then a closure under both, right? So this was our valid low, number 1, okay? Check. Then this was our valid high, here, check. So now this zone is valid and we can trade from its 50%. A bullish zone is first made of a valid high, then a valid low, then we take both up, right? So like in this example, where is our last up closing candle in this swing, right? It was this. So the moment we validate the high, we have our valid high, right? And then where is the last down closing candle in this swing? It was this. So we validated this low when we closed here above it, which make this a zone. And surprise, surprise, price needed to come back to it, mitigate it 50%, and we created also a money maker and accumulation before it. Okay, so number 3, when does the zone become protected? So a bullish zone is protected once price closes above its high. So we need and demand a candle closure above the valid high that made the zone. A bearish zone is protected once price closes under its low. So the candle closure under the valid low that made the zone is needed. Example, we have our valid high, our valid low, and which make this a zone. So when the zone is protected is where we close above the valid high that made the bullish zone. So when we closed above it, just this candle validated this zone. Example of a bearish zone. So this was our valid low, this was our valid high. We closed under here with this candle, which is what validates this as a bearish zone. Okay, number 4, quality of a zone. The high probability zones are the zones that have more trading volume, aka price spend lots of time accumulating before making that zone protected. And I will add that I need minimum 3 candles forming the zone. I'm talking about this up move before the down move in a bearish zone. So I need at least 3 candles forming this swing up, right? And I demand lots of candle forming the zone. For example, in this bullish zone, okay? So this was a mini zone that was like an accumulation for this bullish zone before. But following my rules for picking the zones, I didn't take it. Why? Because it didn't have lots of volume. And 2, it was made with 2 candles. I'm not counting this small inside candle, right? So here is my zone, and look at how much candles made this, right? So we validated and closed above it, which make it protected. And look at how we respected its 50%. Number 5, my A++ zones. So those are nothing but zones that have all the criteria above, plus they will take the liquidity of a prior zone as a fake flip, then they close again in the same direction. Those are the result of the SBS setup, or those are nothing but the dealing range type zones for ICT traders, where we take a low, a swing low, before we take the highs again. And those are also zone model for TCM traders, if there is some TCM guys here. Okay, so for example, we have this zone here, we take it slow, then we remain bullish. So for me, the zone created will be high probability, and we did all the criteria that we talked about before. So that's why 50% was high probability. Okay, so bearish example is this. So for example, we have a valid low, then we have our valid high, which make this like a mini zone. Not protected, I know, but the moment we take the liquidity above and closed under, we'll make this a very high probability zone for me. Very high probability bearish zone. And look at how price will respect the 50% and drop. And it's usually give large moves, especially when it happens at the top of a swing. So you guys need just to trail your stops under protected highs, okay? Keep milking the market. Now, before I end the video, I want you guys all to make or participate in this exercise. So, number 1, I want you to train your eyes during backtesting sessions every day for at least 2 hours per day and at least 2 weeks. So when you get this done, I want you to train your eyes during live price action for at least a month. Then, when your eyes get comfortable spotting those zones and differentiating between high probability zones and the ones that fail, I want you to start taking demo trades for at least 2 months, right? So while you are doing those demo trades, I want you to collect data, and I want you to journal at least 100 setup. I want you to watch the Moneymaker setup video before too, so you know what to do, okay? So I want you to journal those 100 setups and write down either if either it was a win or a loss. I want you to write down how did you feel while taking the setup, and if you were experiencing some life events, I want you to write them down. So you know when you have a losing day, you know what do you feel and what makes you lose trades. So when you feel like that, you will avoid them in the days after, okay? Then if you are profitable in those 100 setup, I want you to move to a cheap discounted futures account and start playing with it. If you're not profitable in those 100 setups, I want you to start from this again and then do it for another 2 months, okay? So when you master your emotions, you will start passing those challenges fast. You will start seeing the fractals repeat over and over again. And this is when the party will get started for you. Okay, so tag me on X when you take the Moneymaker setup and tell me either if it's either A+ or A++ or A, or if you have a question. I will be answering all of you guys' questions. Alright, that was all from me today, guys. I hope you guys learned a thing or two. And if you have some more questions, let me know in the comments section. That's all from me today, guys. Ciao, ciao.